Start, sir.
Good afternoon, my dear friends. Today we are going to give the second presentation. This video upload will, I hope, conclude the discussion on Kamala Das's poem, The Old Playhouse. As I have told you in course of my previous lecture, The Old Playhouse is a poem about the married life of a woman. There was a plan of the husband figure to tame the woman persona. There was, on the other hand, there were certain expectations that the woman had out of marriage, companionship, sexual gratification maybe, and also understanding and a loving companionship, These things were thwarted because in the patriarchal setup, the husband figure is all pervasive and all powerful. It is his wishes that are given priority. It is his desires that are fulfilled. And the woman has to fulfill those desires of the male, of the husband figure. She has to perform certain duties expected of her by this patriarchal society and also the paternalistic family in order to gain for herself the so-called safety and drabness of married life, a long married life. Now, you have to understand that over the years, if the marriage is mechanical, if there is no understanding, obviously the wife in a patriarchal setup can only get disillusioned. Sometimes she doesn't have any other option. She is economically dependent. She is mentally subservient. And as a result, she cannot actually break out of this. Like, say, someone like Nora in Ibsen's play. So, we have tackled the first half of the poem, basically. The woman speaker says that she had to become a dwarf, cowering beneath the monstrous ego of the husband figures. She had to cower, become frightened and cringe, because he was so powerful and she was so powerless. So we will, from now on, deal with this poem in short sections. I will take the help of one of my students who will read out relevant portions of the poem for the benefit of all. Okay, let's start our discussion.
Yes, sir. I lost my will and reason to all your questions. I mumbled incoherent replies.
Okay. In the last line, if you have the text handy, you will see the allusion was to being a dwarf. So, the woman figure had lost her personality, her ability to think properly and cogently. So, she had lost her will and her reason because she was dictated to. She was not given any free rein. So, to all his questions, she could only give mumbling, indistinct replies. So, this loss of the will and the ability to reason, this led to this. Okay, next section.
The summer begins to pall. I remember the rudder breezes of the fall and the smoke from burning leaves.
The smoke from the burning leaves. Okay, uh, the summer begins to pall. You remember in the first two lines of the poem, the husband wanted to secure the woman, the wife figure, in the summer of his love. Summer is the warm season between spring and autumn. But at the same time, the summer is symbolically associated with the period of heightened activity. So, summer is associated with youth, just as winter is associated with age. Summer is associated with sexual activity, as winter is associated with frigidity. So, here, the summer begins to fall, become less interesting, you know. So, the long summer of this unfruitful married life has meant that it has become less desirable. It has become less interesting from the perspective of the woman speaker. Summer begins to fall. And go on. Next line again.
Yes, sir.
Summer begins to fall then.
I remember the rudder breezes of the fall and
I
the smoke
remember the ruder breezes
of the fall,
of the fall, yes.
and the smoke from burning leaves.
Leaves, yes. You know, the ruder breezes of the fall, you know, and also autumn, and also the smoke of the burning leaves. You know, other seasons left behind. The husband figure wanted to make the wife figure forget the other seasons left behind, or the other homes left behind. But now, after such a long married life, we are reminded of a famous Bengali poem by Rabindranath Tagore. If you read it, and if you can read Bengali, I strongly suggest that you read it, Mukti by Rabindranath Tagore. You know, after such a long time, other remembrances are also disturbing the woman figure. Go on, the next section.
Yes, sir. Your room is always lit by artificial light. Your windows always shut. Even the air conditioner helps so little. All pervasive is the male scent of your breath. The cut flowers in the vases have begun to smell of human sweat.
Okay. Now, how the family home has now assumed the characteristics of a prison can be best illustrated from this section of the poem. You know, here the windows are shut. So, connection with the outer world is denied to the woman. The lights, the room is lighted by artificial lights. Sunlight, natural light is not there. It is not allowed to enter as if. And even the wind is stale, you know, the air conditioner, a futile effort on the part of the man to regulate. Air conditioner symbolically also suggests the male attempt to regulate the temperature. Okay, air conditioner helps so little. The air is now vitiated by the male scent of your breath. Maybe tobacco smoke, maybe uh, the odor of liquor or alcohol. And similarly, the human sweat also. Sweat, putrefaction, and the even the cut flowers in the vases, they are being rendered hideous and loathsome by being associated with the husband figure. Our mental condition often colors our perception of the surroundings. And that is what happens in the case of this woman figure also. Go on. Next section, please.
Yes, sir. There is no more singing, no more a dance. My mind is an old playhouse with all its lights put out.
You know, the old playhouse is associated. The playhouse is associated with singing and dance, with acting and all that, with gusto, with audience, with joy de vivre, the joy of life. That is what is lacking in this drab relationship that the woman has to drag on. And that is why all the lights are put out. The warmth of companionship is gone. So the light of love is also gone. Love, which was supposed to be the basis of the conjugal relationship by the woman persona. She has found to her own cost that it is not love, but lust. It is not companionship, but domination. That has been her predicament, her lot. Okay, go on.
Yes, sir. Next section.
Yes.
The strong man's technique is always the same. He serves his love in little doses, for love is
Yes.
Narcissus.
Okay. Let's stop here for the time being. The strong man's technique. You remember, the husband figure was supposed to be monstrous in his ego, and he was almost gigantic, which is why the woman persona, the wife figure, had to cower before him. And he was a strong man, not only physically strong, but ideologically strong in this patriarchal setup. The strong man's technique is always the same. Because the strong man had once planned to tame the swallow. A free-spirited bird had to be tamed. The wife had to be tamed. So the swallow is associated with the wife. And now that wife has been tamed completely. The strong man's technique is always the same. He delivers his love in lethal doses. Lethal doses just like medicine. Once the woman had to eat the magic loaf, now the wife figure has to take the medicine. Why? Presumably because she had dared, in her ignorance, to consider marriage a place or an opportunity for loving companionship. Now she has to take the medicine that the strong man will deliver in lethal doses. maybe through his robust lust or through his all-pervasive influence and domination. Okay, go on.
For love is Narcissus at the water's edge, haunted by its own lonely face.
Wait a minute. Love is Narcissus at the water's edge, haunted by its lonely face. Now, by talking about Narcissus, here actually, um, William Emerson has talked about the 7 types of ambiguity, and sometimes language of a poem is full of paradox, as Clint Brooks has taught us, and it is also a bit ambivalent, ambiguous. Narcissus was a Greek youth who was enamored of his own reflection in the water, whom he mistakenly considered to be some kind of nymph, and he fell in love with his own reflection. So Narcissus is associated with self-love. So, love is Narcissus at the water's edge, haunted by its lonely face. Now here, the use of the word "it" gives the ambiguity to this section of the poem, because love is being associated with Narcissus. Loving is being personified. And then, at the same breath, the word "it" is being used in place of love. Okay, lonely face. Why is it lonely face? Because, the expectations of the woman figure, they have not been fulfilled. And that is why the face is lonely and a bit troubled as well. But self-love, like self-pity, is self-destructive. Let us go on and find out what the poet has in store for us. Go on.
Yes, sir. And yet it must seek at last an end, a pure, total freedom. It must will the mirrors to shatter and the kind might to erase the water.
Kind night to erase the water. Okay, if the woman cannot resist, if the woman cannot change her plight, at least she can seek the end. In all, if not all, at least in most of Kamala Das's poetry, love and death come hand in hand. And wherever there is lack of love, there is a thanatic, a pro-death, tendency of the seeker, So, because companionship has been denied to her, she can only think about the mind, which is the crucible for love, which really wanted love, the woman's mind, that ultimately can only seek the final freedom that will take the woman out of the reckoning, that will take the woman away from the constricted spaces, both physical and emotional. The urge to fly, the endless pathways of the sky. If not the sky, at least there is the water. There is the chance of immersion. At one time, Narcissus fell into the pool and drowned. If the dark night comes, which is one other word for death, it will blot out the reflection and erase the reflection. So ultimately, through very, very bold images, in Kamala Das we see the images are very varied and graphic. Why? Because sometimes the images are ocular, related to sight. Sometimes they are auditory. The woman figure has to see, has to listen to the questions of the husband and has to acquiesce, mumbling her replies. So it is auditory, it is olfactory. So sometimes there are also gustatory images, like eating the magic loaf. And there is always the predomination of symbolic language in Kamala. So, Old Playhouse is again a poem in which the feminist sensibility of Kamala Das is brought to the fore, because in no ambiguous words, without equivocation, she is laying bare the brutal reality of a loveless marriage. I hope this discussion will help you in understanding the poem, The Old Playhouse. Obviously, any queries or comments will be welcome. Thanks for watching.